Hey there, it's Shannon and welcome to my Know by Year. So those of you who've been following along will know that I've been a little bit absent this month, and that is for a variety of reasons. This has just been the hardest month of my Know by so far. It's the first month that I've really noticed wanting to shop and buy and search in the same way that I was before. It's the first month that I haven't been in town for a lot of that time. I've also had bronchitis for the last 2 weeks, so Exhibit A. So if my voice is a little off, that's why. And yeah, I was on an extended business trip, and it is March, which means that it is the 1-year anniversary of my father's passing. And that has been very difficult. It is one of those things where you just have to give yourself some grace and understanding. And part of it is simpler because I made it very clear to myself when I started this process that I was not going to engage in YouTube as an obligation. I wasn't going to do anything that made me feel like I had to keep to a very specific schedule because I am the part-time caretaker for a disabled adult. I work a full-time job. So there are things that have to take precedence when it comes to that. But also, I just found all of my energy going into maintaining the rules that I set for myself and maintaining my day-to-day and just getting through the day. And I think that grief is like that sometimes. Like sometimes are better than others, and it's sort of a up and down process. At least it has been for me. And I'm just trying to give myself the space to sit with that and live with that and be okay with that. It's interesting how grief interacts with the Know by process, I will say, because if you'd asked me at the beginning of this month, I would have said, you know, actually I think I'm doing okay. I think I've prepared for how I'm going to handle the 1-year anniversary, which was the 19th. I was on a business trip during that time. I figured out what I'm going to do, like I've processed, I think I'm going to be okay. But even while I was saying that, like I was having a lot of trouble focusing and a lot of trouble sticking to my rules and a lot of issues just like wanting to go out and make myself feel better. You know, those self-soothing mechanisms of, you know, having an extra glass of wine or having an ice cream at the end of the day or whatever it is that is the self-soothing method, wanting to engage in those things because it was just a really hard time and a hard month. Suffice it to say that this month has had a lot of ups and downs. It's been a difficult month. It's been a little overwhelming and difficult to place where I am in this grief process. Like that has not been a fun part of the process. Figuring out how I'm feeling on a day-to-day has been a lot of that. And that's just part of the process, and I know that. That being said, I think that it's really important to have transparency around this Know by situation, and it would be disingenuous of me to come on here and say everything's perfect, everything's going wonderful, if I have broken any of the rules. And technically, I did break one of those rules. The rule that I broke is jewelry. No jewelry accessories purchasing, and that's because I purchased this. So I bought this on the anniversary of Dad's passing. And something that happened last year is right after he passed away, there was like a rock and gem show near me, and I purchased a little ring that has a ruby in it, which is my birthstone. It was also one of his mom's favorite stones, and so I have some rings with those in it from her. And it just made me feel a lot better, and it reminded me of him. And so whenever I wear it now, I think of it as like Dad's ring, even though he didn't give it to me necessarily, but it was something that I was able to almost focus all of that emotion through and grief through. Oh, thanks, buddy. My dog is here and being very helpful. Yeah. Thanks. But that happened last year, and this year when I saw this, it was sort of kismet to me because I'm always looking for amethysts that have been set in a gold tone setting because that's what my wedding ring is, and so finding rings that match my wedding ring are difficult, and so I almost never find them. And then I found this one, and it happened to have 3 little stones wrapped around a heart. And that just made me feel like it was my mom, my brother, and I sort of surrounded by the love that I know is still there, even though he is not physically here with us. And that seems like a lot to read into a very small thing, which I recognize, and I can recognize that that is something that I'm clearly personifying an item in a way that maybe is part of the issue with the purchasing and the buying process. But I think there's a certain level of grace that is required to be given, and like, if that's something that really helps and makes a difference and makes me feel like he's still with me, I think that's okay. I really think it's okay. That is my one exception to the no buy that I've made in the entire year, is this ring that reminds me of my dad. So that is where we're at with that process, and that is where we're at in the no buy. And I'm petting my dog down here. He's very demanding. But that's the status. So it's been a difficult month. We're working through it. I'm working my way forward, and I'm hopeful to get back into the regular posting schedule because I really enjoy this. It's just been something that I have not had the brain capacity to handle. With that, I thought we could break into the March empties because there's not a lot of them. I was out of town for a lot of this month and working out of little like travel carry-on items, and there's only 3 items in this box. 3 tiny little items in here. Nothing too crazy. So the first is actually, it's not even its own item. It's a sample. And I got this because I purchased the Skin Fix Barrier Peptide Cream for night cream. And I can talk a little bit about that one in another video. But this is the Triple Lipid and Collagen Activating Serum. I actually really liked this, and I might try buying it after my no buy is over or like down the line, because the formula was really nice. Some people have an issue with Skin Fix and how it smells. They feel like it smells strongly. I don't experience that, which is unusual because I'm usually pretty sensitive to that sort of thing, but I didn't have any issues like that. Skin Fix serum was fun to try. It was just a sample that came with something else, and I used it and then put it in my little Empties box. The second one is one that I've had forever. It's a Maybelline Cinnamon lipstick, and you can see this thing is so beat up. I don't even want to show it on camera because of how nasty it is. It is like eaten up. There's stuff on the top, there's stuff on the bottom. Like, it has been through it. And I wore this a lot a few years ago. I went through a period where I wore it all the time. So it's been through it, and then it is finally done. And I'm kind of glad because I really need a new like nude lipstick that reflects my coloring now. I have had hair every color of the rainbow. Red, brown, purple, green, like highlighter neon glow in the dark green. I've had blue and pink, and so my coloring has been different in a lot of different times of my life. So I really need a new nude lipstick that reflects the coloring I have now. So if any of my vampiric dark-haired light-skinned girlies have a suggestion of a nude that they really love, let me know, because I am going to be looking to replace this with a really nice, great nude lipstick. I will say too, this is something I've noticed throughout this no buy process, is that because I'm not spending money on cheap nonsense 24/7, like I'm not buying off of Amazon and picking things up at thrift stores, or I'm not buying low quality, high quantity items. And because of that, I'm finding myself much more willing to invest in some nice things when I do replace them. So when I replace this lipstick, for example, I know I'm going to be wearing it for a long period, and therefore I'm willing to spend a little bit more money so that it can be nice. And I think that that's something that is not a surprise through the no buy process, but is something I'm really starting to notice now as things need to be replaced, is that I'm willing to replace them with something that's quality because I'm not spending all of my money on little tiny nonsense. The last empty is this Thayer's Blemish Clearing Facial Toner. It's just witch hazel salicylic acid. It is an active ingredient, so I probably will replace this with another salicylic acid. I don't think I have another one of these actually, so I will have to buy a replacement for this. But I love a salicylic acid like once a day, and nowadays, look at him checking stuff out. Nowadays my skin is too dry to do salicylic acid multiple times a day. Sir? Can I help you? I don't know that I will replace this with this specific brand. I'll probably find something different just because of the ownership brand of this one, and I wasn't that impressed with the formula. It was fine, but it wasn't so amazing that I need to buy a whole big bottle again. It still has the clearance sticker on it. Like, you can see that I bought it before because it was on sale and I needed a toner and blah, blah, blah. But now that this big old bottle is gone, I can definitely pick someone out that is going to be very specific to my skin type and the active ingredient level that I need. That's all. That's all of the empties that there were this month. Oh, well, there's one more that I don't have the bottle for, and that's because I left the bottle in California. Because when I was traveling, I ran out of my Liquid Spell hair mousse, and I actually love that, and I'll probably get more from the gal that does my hair because I really liked the formula for that. It was really nice and light and fluffy, and it would give volume at the roots without weighing the rest of the hair down and making it greasy. But I did use it up while I was there, and my luggage was pretty tight. I packed really efficiently, and I've only packed in carry-ons for the most part, so I only packed a carry-on, and so when I was packing everything back, I just did not want to bother with packing an empty, so I left it there. But the Magic Spell hair mousse, I'll find the actual name and put it down below. They're the official title, but it's great. I like it. I just used it up this month, and it's the fourth of 4 little empties this month. I do think that next month I might have more in the way of empties because this month was so little, but we'll see. I'm noticing that I have a huge backlog of products in certain categories, cleansers specifically. Cleansers, I have a ton. I have a number of eyeshadows, but in terms of like toner and stuff, I don't have a huge backlog. I also noticed that I utilized my husband's tea tree oil-based salicylic acid at one point because I was like, oh, this is running out. I'll see if this is something that I can use. Hard no. Hard no. I've experienced this before with tea tree being just too harsh for my skin type, and that's very consistent. So salicylic acid is fine, but the toners that have tea tree in them are just a no-go for me. So I won't be utilizing one that has that in it or any products that have that in it from here on out. So that is it. This month has been a roller coaster. It's interesting because I do feel like now that the 1-year mark has passed, I have these little reminders of him, and that makes me feel better. And now it feels a little bit like maybe I can start to move forward and start to do some of the things that I really enjoyed and really loved. Maybe we've turned a corner here in this process. I hope so. Because I know that I can't continue on feeling the way I felt the last year. So I'm hopeful that we've turned a bit of a corner in terms of how I feel about the process of grieving and how I get from day to day. And I'm interested to see how that will affect the no-buy process. So we will find out. But I think that there is some serious magic in actively changing how you interact with the external forces that disrupt your life. I think there's something really special and meaningful in taking hold of your life and taking hold of your choices, and that's what this process has been helping me do, and helping me think critically about how I'm moving through the most difficult time of my life. And I'm looking forward to how, now that we've passed what feels like a really important marker, how that will affect my day-to-day going forward. So we'll see, but here's to that, and here's to you making magic in your own life. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you sooner than I have been recently. I will see you soon. I will be posting more videos more frequently. I have a backlog of a couple that I have filmed and just hadn't edited, so you will see me again, and thank you so much. Bye now.